Today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how to do calligraphy using Crayola markers. These are the specific markers that I'm going to use, and they are just the broad tipped markers. This is what the box looks like. If you are in the United States, these are super easy to find. I know that some people tell me that it's hard to find Crayola markers where they live, but these are really easy to find if you are in the United States or if you can purchase on Amazon. So I'm just going to get right into it. I get a lot of questions about Crayola marker calligraphy, but with that many questions, I obviously know that I should probably just make a video to explain it better and show you how I do calligraphy using just a basic Crayola marker. So the first question that I get a lot is how to hold your marker. And I do just hold it at a slight angle. I'm not a mathematician, but probably like a 45-degree angle. And I just apply different amounts of pressure based on how thick I want my strokes. So for example, when I go up, I'm not putting very much pressure, and when I go down, I'm just pushing more. And I get a lot of people who think that I change the stroke size based on how I'm holding my pen. Like for example, they think that I might hold it straight up and then have to angle it to go back down and get that thicker stroke. But that's not the case. That would not work at all. So it's not at all about how you're holding your pen. You're going to keep the same angle the entire time you're writing. It's just that you're not going to push very hard, and then when you come back down, you are going to push quite a bit harder. So that's my first tip, is to just practice some of these different little drills that you can do. And if this is difficult for you, just start by drawing a thin line going up, and then once you got that down, start drawing thick lines going down just by pushing harder. So that's all we're going to do. To get that dimension in our strokes to make our letters. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how I practice forming my letters with calligraphy. These are lettering worksheets that I've created. I'll leave a link in the description box below. When you print them out, they're actually in color, but I just printed them out in black and white. So these have one page per letter, and they have little arrows here showing you how to form your letters. So for the A, we're going to start right here and go around, and then we're going to lift our pen and come back up and go down like this. So let me just show you. So I'm holding my marker at that angle, and I'm just going to press lightly and then push harder and then light again. Then I'm going to lift up my pen. You don't need to try to connect every single stroke together when you're doing calligraphy. That can be really hard to keep consistent pressure with your markers. So I just lift up my pen and then go back down and then light again. So I just do this over and over to practice. And yours might look a lot different when you're starting. It's honestly just one of those things that takes a lot of practice, because once you do this a whole bunch of times, your muscle memory will tell you then to put that thick and thin pressure. One thing I want to mention is that these are not brush markers like for calligraphy or hand lettering. So they obviously work a little bit different than a Tombow brush pen or something that has a longer, thinner brush pen. But they do work really great. But one thing I do find that I have to do every once in a while is I have to rotate the angle of my pen. So let me just do a couple more and show you what I mean. Because we are putting a lot of pressure on this marker that it's probably not meant to take. These are just like kids markers or regular coloring markers. It's not really meant to be pushing super hard all the time. So because of that, as you can see, the tip is kind of going up. I have used several of these markers for a really long time, and I've never had to replace them. But what I do is then I just flip it over so that the tip is then pointing down, and it kind of goes the opposite direction and works perfectly again. So every once in a while I just have to flip it over, and if you find that it's getting hard to get the thinner strokes, like right there, you might just need to rotate the way you're holding your pen. So another thing that I wanted to mention is that you might need to write a little bit larger with this versus a small pen that's made for calligraphy. If you try to write really small, you might have a hard time getting your thinner strokes because you're not going to have as much room to transition when you're drawing your strokes. So as you can see, it's kind of crowded, and these didn't get quite as thin as I like. So you might just need to draw a little bit bigger than you are used to drawing for calligraphy. And that's okay because this marker is obviously just very wide. So sometimes we just need to draw a little bit bigger. And you can get a little bit easier strokes with this marker. And if you're watching this video, you've probably already watched my other Crayola marker video. If you haven't, I will link that in the description box below, but I think that is how a lot of you find my channel. So if you have already seen that, this might be repetition, but I just wanted to really quickly show you what it looks like if you keep applying the same amount of pressure every time. I showed this with a Tombow marker in my other video, and I just don't want anybody to be confused if they are lettering and it doesn't look like I'm teaching right now. If your lettering looks like this, where it's all really thick strokes, this means that you are not lighting up on your pressure. So if you are applying really firm pressure to your entire letter, it's going to look like this. So the goal is that we want these strokes to be thick and these ones here to be really thin. So if your problem is that it looks like this and it's just really, really thick, you might need to go back to those drills and practice those light strokes. And I actually have a drills worksheet that comes with my lettering worksheets, and this will just show you which ones specifically you want to be thinner strokes and which ones you want to be thicker. So just in case you're struggling with that and you're wondering why it doesn't look the same, I just wanted to point out that if you do apply really firm pressure to your entire letter, it's not going to look the same as calligraphy. So I hope that's helpful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the rest of these lettering worksheets, and I'm going to show you how I draw the whole alphabet, but I'm going to speed it up because it would be super long video otherwise. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below. And like I said, I will link these lettering worksheets for you in the description box below. So if you are wanting to practice more lettering with the Crayola markers, these might be really helpful for you, and they're just a printable, so you can keep printing them out as you practice. This size is also really good with the Tombow dual tip brush pen. So I'm going to go through, draw every single letter, and show you what each page looks like so that you can decide for yourself if you think that this is something that would be helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow me on Instagram and see more tips, please follow me. It is just at howtohandletter. And as always, feel free to leave your questions in the comments box below, and I will do my very best to get back to you. And make sure to subscribe for more future videos, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.